Live. I'm James Owen.
I'm Sanders Tisdale.
We have another great show for you tonight, folks. That's because another Steeler win on the road against the Washington Commanders, 28-27. We're going to talk about that in the show. We're also going to talk about, Sanders, we're still number one in division with the Ravens breathing down our necks, 7-2, 6-3. But the big challenge is going to be next Sunday in the Berg, where the Baltimore Ravens come to Pittsburgh. We're going to talk more about that and more news around the NFL when we return to Steeler Nation Live.
Hey guys, like we said, welcome to Steeler Nation Live. Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
We like to talk about huge win, Pittsburgh Steelers, James, going into Washington. You knew it was going to be a tough game. Pittsburgh stood the test. A lot of people thought they weren't going to win it. I thought myself that, you know what? I said they're going to let this young rookie quarterback beat them. They're going to go in there. They're going to destroy him. And for a little while there, it did almost look like it was going to come to fruition. But the Pittsburgh Steelers played one heck of a gritty game in the second half. And the Steelers look like they're a team that's trying to round the corner. And a lot of those naysayers out there who, James, beat up Russell Wilson might be eating their own words.
Yeah, we talked about this in the season. Well, we had Justin Fields quarterback. Steelers were winning 4-2, right? So progressively, Justin Fields was doing his thing. But we all thought, man, now is not the time to replace our quarterback. He's doing good. He's progressing. He's doing great. We're winning ball games. We're not killing teams, but you know what? When you have the defense that we have, you don't really necessarily have to do that. You got to control the ball, control the clock, keep their offense off the field. So this was and then when Russell Wilson came in and we starting to click, starting to, get that rhythm going. We added Mike Williams from the New York Jets as a number 2 wide receiver, same stature as Pickens. He's 6'4", about 200 pounds, soaking wet. So he adds like the bookend, the missing bookend. So how does that help the Pittsburgh Steelers offense? I mean, we missed out on Hopkins for the same price. We got Williams for a 5th rounder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we missed out on that, but you know what? Did we? Yeah. Did we really miss out on it? I mean, give the guy a chance. I mean, he really didn't have a chance to develop down in New York, and we all know why that, because Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and, when you have your own coach fired and you're calling your plays and stuff, so it's really hard to develop down there. Then not to mention they get Devontae Adams, throw him in the mix. So, Mike Williams is looking for a new place to go. What better than the Berg, Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson. So they're veterans, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they can, and they're starting to gel. He had one throw to him during the game. We'll talk about the highlights later in the show, but it was a big throw, a big catch at the end of the game. So what I'm trying to say is right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, he knows what there's a lot of haters out there, right, Sanders? And like I said, I was skeptical of the move, but you know what? There's reasons why he has no losing season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's very smart, very football IQ-ish. He knows what he's doing. He knows his players. He knows what he can get from these players. He knows what these players can produce. And by him putting in Russell Wilson, man, that was a roll of the dice. But you know what? In Vegas, you either win, you lose. But in Pittsburgh, you got to listen to Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Tomlin, he set the tone. A lot of guys out there. Hey, me, myself, when we switched over to Russell Wilson, I was like, okay, what are we doing? But I also thought that, you know what? Let Russell at least prove himself. He's sitting on the bench. We got a deal on him. Let's just see what happens. And he pulled the trigger at the right time, because you got to think about it. Now he's proven himself that at least he can be a great asset to this team as a quarterback. And now he gets in. Now we're getting into the point of the season to where, what is Russell? 3-0 now? 3-0 as a quarterback?
Yeah.
So now we're getting into that point to where we're going to need a guy who's going to help put up some numbers. Russell Wilson right now had the Steelers at 30 points a game, guys. Average. Over 3 games. 30 points a game. You know what we had with the other guy. And I'm not downplaying Fields. Fields did a phenomenal job for us. I thought he did the things not to lose the game for us, and that was huge. Fields kept us in a lot of games, which made us, he didn't give us that turnover, that thing that could actually kill us, and we could have been down at the bottom of the division. So right now, like I said, Tomlin, kudos to you. Kudos to the staff for doing what you're doing. Kudos to you guys making it through with guys who have huge injuries right now. We really don't know. We have, one of our outside linebackers,
Highsmith.
I'm sorry,
re-injured his groin.
Yeah. No, it's his ankle. His ankle.
No, his groin.
Oh, I thought it was his ankle. Yeah, because he twisted it. But the thing about it is, we got injuries right there, and the Steelers have set themselves up right now to be one of the teams that said, you know what, like Tomlin always preached, next man up, and that's what it has to be in the NFL. Next man up, because you're going to have injuries. It's a long season, 17 games now. It's not like back in the day where it was 12, 14 for the season or 16. It's 17. Each game takes a toll, and now Tomlin make the correct move to put guys in there who can actually do some things for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers' huge win going down to Washington, James. You want to run off some stats right there?
Yeah, so not last week because it was election day, so we didn't have a show. But the prior week, we kind of discussed what the Pittsburgh Steelers needed to do to come out in a victory. But what I like with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now is there's nothing going on in the locker room except for the fact of a lot of maturity. Right, Russell Wilson taking the helm and being a leader that we signed him to be, and to be that guy in the sidelines, and Justin Fields, kudos to him too for accepting what's going on. And folks, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but for one thing, I'm a proponent with a solid backup. Okay, yeah, everybody wants to be the number one guy, but people put off the backup. Now look at these teams out there struggling when their starter has gone down. We'll talk with the Dallas Cowboys. Look at how they're falling apart. All the wheels are falling off the car and it's just going down. Why is that? Dak is hurt. Well, Dak, before he was hurt, his numbers were below average, especially below average for the $260 or $280 million his contract is worth. That's affecting the whole team. No running game, no passing game. Dak is hurt, probably out for the rest of the season. And that's probably a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. However, there's nobody to step up and take that starting role as backup. Now, with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields still could learn a lot from Russell Wilson. And having him as a number 2, if something happens, God forbid, to Russell Wilson, we know what we're going to get with Justin Fields, and being mentored on the sidelines by Russell Wilson. I'm guarantee you has improved his game 100% right off the bat. Yeah. I guarantee you. If you look at highlights from the last time they played, sitting on the sidelines, talking together, working, looking at the tablet, talking, laughing, joking, having a good time with the fans and whatnot. That's what it's about. It's about leadership. And if you listen to anything that Russell Wilson said after these games, yeah, everything's going to be happy and positive when you win. But I guarantee you on a loss, you're going to hear the same enthusiasm from Russell Wilson. He's been nothing but amazing with the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. Folks, prove me wrong. Call 585-210-3917. That's 585-210-3917. We got Joe Spano on the line. Give us a message. Come on, people. We want to hear some stuff. Yeah. Give us a call. Let us know how you feel about that. And
hey, Joe, but I agree with you what you just said, though. Like you said up there, you said, there's a huge game coming up for the Pittsburgh Steelers next week, and you are correct. That's going to be one heck of a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I believe that they can pull it out. I believe they can do it. We have the tools to do it. Just got to play consistently week after week. And so far, we've been doing the little things what we need to do to win, and it's been huge. Let's go over some of the stats quick from that.
Oh, absolutely. The Pittsburgh Steelers come out, like I said before I went on my tangent, that we talk about what are the keys of victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Washington Commanders. What did we have to do? Now, they have a superstar for a rookie quarterback. This kid is amazing. He's like, I don't know, he's like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Just coming out of Louisville. I mean, this is how good this kid is. And a lot of teams are saying, a lot of people, a lot of GMs are saying that the Chicago Bears screwed up once again by taking Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels offers a lot to the team. Explosiveness, strong, great, accurate arm, and he's got the wheels to avoid sacks and get the yardage down the field. So what what the Pittsburgh Steelers had to do was they had to contain him, shut down Eckler, who was a fantastic running back for the Commanders, and McLaurin, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL today. This is a double team, triple team all day long, and they have other weapons. So if you go into Washington and it's an uphill battle right now, but with our defense, this is what a lot of people, they say we got a good defense, right? But in, game out, we always prove ourselves, all right? We're going to talk about the secondary being probably the weak point. We'll talk about that later on the show with a resurgence and a re-signing of Cam Sutton coming back as a cornerback, how that's going to be helpful to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But like we were talking about, Sanders, how we have to shut down the run game and contain Daniels. Keep in the pocket. Don't let him run out of the pocket. And that's exactly what we did. Daniels had a mediocre day, 17 for 34 for 202 yards, no touchdown passes. Austin Eckler for the Commanders, he had a couple touchdowns. He had 44 yards. The defense still continues to stop the running backs. I don't think there's been over 100-yard rusher so far. But people are probably saying, you know what? You're going to see Derrick Henry next week. Nah, I'm not worried about that at all because when he played for the Titans, we had no problem with him. But we'll talk about that later in the show. On our end, okay, Russell Wilson really didn't have that great of a day. 14 for 28, 195 yards, but he did have 3 touchdown passes, 1 interception, and the Steelers coughed the ball up, fumble. We'll talk about that later in the show. Time of possession, Sanders, 36 minutes, almost 37 minutes out of 60. Now, we talked about that too. As long as the Steelers kept their offense out there, moving the ball, right? Keep their offense off. Don't turn the ball over. You have a real great chance of winning the ball game. Pittsburgh Steelers came out top 28-27. It was a tight match the whole way through. Steelers scoring a touchdown in every quarter. Commanders came out, touchdown, 10 points, 0 points in the fourth quarter, which is huge. If you want to win ball games, you got to shut these guys down. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? So if you shut the other team down in the fourth quarter, they're not scoring points, you have a high propensity of winning this ball game. So there was a lot of controversy in this game, Sanders.
Just a lot. And one other thing that was a huge controversy in this game, I've seen a lot of Washington Commander fans sitting there saying that the Steelers stole one. You stole this game. They should have never won this game because that was a first down. That fourth down reception by a good tight end there. But the problem is that when he caught the ball, his own what do we call
momentum?
His own momentum took him back into that field of play. He caught it probably before the first down. His own momentum took him in front of that first down. The Pittsburgh Steelers stopped him before that first down. So there you have it. And he put one knee down.
He's down.
He's down.
He's down.
No matter what you do, he's down.
He's down.
Now, if he'd have caught it and they drove him back, I get it. That's a first down reception. But guys, that's the way the game is. You know it. You catch a touchdown, and the guy knocks you back into the field of play, they're going to give you a touchdown. That's all to it, and that's exactly what that was. A lot of these guys, they say, well, it was a first down. It was not a first down, James. I've been hearing that from a lot of these guys saying that it was a first down. Didn't happen. So you guys keep trying. A lot of Commander fans are out there saying that we stole the game. The refs helped us out on that game. That is not the case. Steelers came out there, they played. I wish they wouldn't have put themselves in that position, but they played defense well enough to make him come up short, James. So, well,
apparently the Commanders fans didn't see all the game and all the missed calls. I have 3 off the top of my head right now. Where that so-called fumble from Jalen Warren at the 1-yard line with a little over 2 minutes left to go in the game, where his momentum was stopped and he was being pushed back. Whistle wasn't blown though, but the forward momentum was stopped. The play should have been stopped. They didn't. He fumbled, but we ended up getting the ball back. Let's see, holding on a field goal that blatantly he was held and pulled down to the ground, could have blocked a field goal. TJ Watt held in the end zone. One of his many holding calls that were that were missed. There's a safety right there. So we're talking at least 5 points right there. Okay. But we did get the ball back on a muffed punt. And that put us right back in the scoring position. And Najee, he didn't do that great of a job. I mean, he had 3 games plus 100 yards each game, which was phenomenal. He only had, I think, like 53 yards, but he did score that touchdown. I mean, overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers are spreading out the wealth on offense. And, I'm going to knock out wood or something like that. But like I said about 2 minutes ago, that there is no disruption in the locker room. And I get it, because when you're winning, everybody's happy and you don't get the friction. But that's what leads people to championships. And you know what? And all the naysayers out there who predicted the Steelers to be last in the division, I mean, I'd like to have you call the show right now, 585-210-3917. Call the show, and we want to hear from you and see what you feel like now. But yes, we haven't played anybody in our division. Okay, whatever that means. So, I mean, division rivals are tough, but we own the Browns, we own the Bengals, and we somewhat own the Ravens. I mean, looking back in history, under Mike Tomlin, where is it? Under Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 21-16 versus the Ravens under Mike Tomlin. Overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 35-25 overall against the Ravens. So, I mean, I don't want to say we own them, but our record pretty much shows it. And me and Sanders were talking offline, and, the Pittsburgh Steelers have 35 wins against the Ravens. Can anybody out there tell me who the second team with the most wins against the Ravens is? Gets a prize. So don't Google it. Well, I guess you have to Google it, I guess.
How do you know anyone?
Unless you know it off the top of your head. But we'll get back to that later in the show. If somebody could, somebody's listening, if they could tell me who is the number 2 team with the most wins against the Ravens, second place to the Steelers, we'd like to hear from you. We got the number 585-210-3917. And we're looking forward to that. Again, we're going to talk about that later in the show. We're going to save that for the end cap, the Ravens game. But question for you, Sanders. The trade deadline ended last week, and we got 2 pretty good, decent trades. We picked up Mike Williams from the Jets for a 5th rounder. And we also got defensive end Preston Smith from the Green Bay Packers. So who do you think is going to have the most impact on the team going for the rest of the year?
Honestly, if you want to know the truth, I think it's going to be Preston Smith.
Okay.
And the reason I say that because don't get me wrong, I did just see our wideout go ahead and get a touchdown late in the game. But the thing about it is Preston Smith, this guy, as you can see, he's a penetrator. Matter of fact, he picked up some tackles in this game that saved first downs. And this is what I'm talking about. When you got a guy that's down and you want to need a guy that's going to come in and put that added pressure, the Steelers are building their fortress. And he is one of those guys that I can see that will be a great addition to our defense. And right now, as far as I'm concerned, offense does win championships, but defense solidifies championships.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Perfect timing. Well, I want to say perfect timing. With the injury of Highsmith, you need some more depth. And Peyton Wilson is doing an admirable job filling in for, giving breaks and stuff, whatever. And now that Highsmith is, you know what? I'm optimistic, but it's not looking good. He re-injured that groin. He was out for a couple weeks. That's something that just doesn't heal too quickly. I think this is going to be a great move. Now, with Mike Williams, contribution to the team, he may not be the touchdown guru, but I'll tell you what, he's going to take some pressure off of Pickens, and he might get some touchdowns. But you know what? You saw Pickens all over the field. Pickens, he had, what did he have? 91 yards, 5 catches, and a touchdown.
Right.
And yeah, Mike Williams had 1 catch, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I mean, you could throw the ball at him 100 times, but he catches the ball the one time for the touchdown. That's pretty much all you need to solidify, a victory. So, I mean, the game against Commanders was pretty tight. It was, the defense, our secondary, like I said earlier in the show, I think the weakness of our secondary right now is causing problems. And, we're number 2 in defense of teams scoring at least 15 points a game. And this was, I mean, you're going into DC and you're playing a young team like the Commanders who are, have a great future ahead of them. And you're going to see these guys in the playoffs, right, for the NFC. I mean, he came in, they were, 6-2? So, I mean, they're not a slouchy team. So if you're looking for a team that you want to build confidence in, going on the road in Washington and beating these guys, you don't have to beat them handily, but you look at the stats. I mean, you pretty much did a good job against them. So they're no slouch team. And that's a great way to prep up for your following game, get your, your division rivals, the Ravens, who were predicted, Sanders, and we all know it. Everybody out there, I mean, says the Ravens were going to win the division. We're going to be in last place. Ha, ha, ha. Look at us now. I mean, the Bengals are starting to come around. The Browns look good for a second, but the Browns are the Browns. I mean, Jameson Winston came in, and the Browns got that first victory. Holy cow, he looked like a Heisman Trophy winner coming in there. Poof. Where's he been?
Yeah.
I mean, where have the Browns been? I mean, Cedric Tillman has come out of nowhere because Amari Cooper left and somebody had to stand him up. Cedric Tillman, the wide receiver for the Browns, outstanding. And Jerry Jeudy, he's coming up. He was deported from Denver, and he came to Cleveland, and he's doing an outstanding job. What's the tight end's name? Junko or
Junko or something?
Duco and Dookie, what? Njoko. I think it's Njoko. I mean, he's a beast. He's a monster. He's a great tight end. I mean, but the Browns are the Browns.
Right,
so
right.
We really only have to worry about the Ravens. The Bengals, I don't know what's going on in Burrow. I mean, it's just their defense, their offense, whatever. I don't think he ever recouped from that injury, and it's starting to show. So the Pittsburgh Steelers taking over that division. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, but it's looking good. The momentum, the Steelers, they got camaraderie, they got leadership finally. I don't think we have an identity yet, Sanders, but we're pretty darn close.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do like that I see the fact of us leaning on a good young quarterback, and what I'm saying in Russell Wilson. And I can't even say young anymore, but the fact is that he's playing rejuvenated football well enough to say, you know what, I want to be this guy. But the question that comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers is, what happens next year, James? That's going to be huge because next year, you got an aging quarterback who's, don't get me, he's playing gritty, he's playing good, he's playing the way we need him. Then the Steelers are going to be faced with, if we don't win this thing, do we bring back Fields? Do we bring back Russell? Those are guys that are going to demand big time paychecks. And speaking of that, well, big time paychecks, which I want to get into because we were going to talk about some other games, but I can't help but talk about these guys right here, and you'll see why.
Yeehaw!
The Pittsburgh Steelers have 99 problems of being a Cowboy fan, ain't one.
Yeehaw!
So like we were saying, with the quarterback situation we talked about earlier in the Dallas Cowboys, $60 million that the QB there had just got Dak. And also you got this guy right here, $136 million that he robbed the Cowboys for. Ezekiel Elliott coming back, giving the ball up at the 3 or 4 yard line. Michael Parsons says to the coach, you know what? I don't care where he goes. The other guys are the one I care about. And the coach says, you know what? I don't know what's going on here. This is not my mess I started. Maybe I should put Cooper Rush back in. A lot of Cowboy fans. You know what I say? Who should be starting for this team is this dude right here. And you know who he is.
Brucey?
Right there.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Jerry Jones should be starting for the Cowboy fans this week. If the Cowboy fans want to see some excitement in this and put seats back in the butt, he's the one that got him in this situation anyway. So why not start for the Dallas Cowboys? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, I'm licking my chops, and I'll tell you why. Because the more the Cowboys fail, the more Micah Parsons, his last year's contract, and we all talked about this earlier in the season when the Cowboys were winning, and everybody's like, oh, he's not going to leave the Cowboys. Well, I think this is a pretty much a roadmap to him right to Pittsburgh, that he said that if things fell out between him and the Cowboys, that he only wants to play for one guy, and that's Mike Tomlin. And being from Penn State, I don't think that's a no-brainer right there. And can you imagine that? TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, Highsmith, and Micah Parsons on that defense. That sounds like the steel curtain of the old days. Come on now, Sanders. Come on. I'm telling you, man, it just sounds so good. And hey, Micah Parsons, if you're listening out there, because I know you got family in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania area.
Come on.
And we people listen all over the United States. We got people from Germany, Canada.
Yep.
I mean, you name it. They listen to Steel Nation Live because we're pretty entertaining. We're not bad looking. We're pretty cool. We're funny at times. But I'm telling you, we're entertaining. We give you the news in a special kind of way. And we love to hear from you too, folks. Come on, don't be shy. I mean, we won't bite. 585-210-3917. Give us a call. We love to hear. I'm still waiting for Cowboy Kenny. Have we checked on him?
I checked on him, man.
You call the area hospitals in Atlanta and see how he's doing and see if he's there?
He was thinking about calling in, but I told him, I said, it's up to you. I said, I don't think it'd be, that good of an idea. I mean, because it was a rough week for you Cowboys.
How did we lose to those guys? I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
Oh man, Sanders. So anybody got the answer yet? Who's the second team to have the most wins against the Ravens? I'm gonna spell it.
Go ahead, brother.
All right. Because people are too shy to give their answer out there. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have 35 wins. The second team close to that is the Tennessee Titans with 11. That is the second team with the most wins against the Ravens, the Tennessee Titans with 11 wins. And you see the Pittsburgh Steelers 35. It's just something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know what? I gotta say this, Sanders. Patrick Queen has come out of he's come out of his shell. I mean, he was all over. If you watch the highlights or if you watch the game, you would have seen Patrick Queen all over that defensive field. And was it because he had to step it up for Alex Highsmith? No. I mean, I was worried. Last show we talked about it. Didn't I talk about that? I was really worried, concerned that the Pittsburgh Steelers might have missed out on getting Patrick Queen because he was our killer. He killed us. I mean, he was the ultimate defender when we played him. And to have a guy like that on our team would have been unbelievable. We get him, and he just wasn't playing up to his potential, I guess. I mean, the guy was all pro. I mean, Super Bowl champion. I mean, this guy had it all. And to be on a Pittsburgh Steelers team, that was electric. But I didn't see this until against the Commanders. I mean, I'm like, yes, finally. I wanted to go out and get a Patrick Queen jersey. I mean, this guy's going to be around for a while. And
young guy. Was he like 24?
Something like that.
Yeah, 24 years old.
Prolific, all over, reading the quarterback. And this was against, he shut down Daniels, kept him in the pocket many times. Eckler, tackles for losses. I mean, this guy was all over the place. And it's great for him to be on the team. So it was great to see him finally, doing something for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But a question, we talked about this earlier in the show, folks. We want your feedback on this as well. What team right now is more worse off than the other, the New York Jets or the Dallas Cowboys? Now, we're not trying to poke too much fun at these teams. Okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But if you take both of the teams and you see the direction they're going in the leadership or lack thereof, who do you think, Sanders? I'll ask you, who do you think is worse off right now as far as today and the future?
Between the Cowboys and the
Jets.
The Jets. You know what? Dang. That's a good question because I think both of them suck.
Yeah, they're both garbage, but
well, I will say this: the Cowboys have a lot of damage that they got to do, but to me, damn,
that's a good question. See,
they both got some serious issues, brother. They both got serious issues. The Jets have an aging quarterback who can be a cancer to the team as well. And not just being an aging quarterback and being a cancer, they have other issues going on within the team. And then you got a head coach who a lot of people said shouldn't even have been an offensive coordinator. And then you got, the fact that you're throwing wide receivers under the bus. There are a lot of things that go with the Jets where I think that they're going to have a lot of huge decisions to make in this offseason. I think the Dallas Cowboys are in a horrible spot, but they already said that, you know what, they're going to shut it down for the year. They kind of folded their hands and gave up because right now they put Dak on the IR. I believe he's going to have surgery, season-ending surgery. And so that means you got Cooper Rush back there.
Was he getting LASIK?
Trey Lance. Yeah, something. Yeah, he does need LASIK. But the thing about it is, so realistically, I don't know who's in the worst position. It's that bad for both teams. The only thing I can say is possibly that the Jets have a possibility of still being in it, but they haven't proven that. They have a better defense. The Jets have a better defense. I'll say that. The Jets have a better defense. So I will say at least that the Cowboys have more issues than the Jets. So I say the Cowboys are worse off, if you want to, because they paid high money. But the Jets did too. They just got Adams. What a mess, man.
Yeah, I tell you, folks out there. I mean, see, I come up with these questions. I mean, they're good questions. They make you think. And getting to I answer the question this. I think the Jets are worse off than the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Cowboys really quick. They need to fire their coach. He should have been fired at the game. They should have went down to the sideline and say, okay, we got it. All right, see you later. You're all done. Why is he still coaching there? They still have a lot of players. Nobody's running that team, zero. And who is that? That's the head coach, Mike McCarthy. He needs to go. And come on, folks, call a message, prove me wrong. I mean, it's not being a Cowboy hater. It's being factual. I mean, if you have a coach who can lead team, you have players, first man up, backup players, whatever. Now, we've seen Cooper Rush quarterback before, and he's mediocre at best, but he's a good backup, okay? Better than Kenny Pickett, I'll tell you that right now. His numbers don't lie. But the garbage that he was throwing out there, that he was so bad, they put Trey Lance in, who, I don't know if he felt that he had to throw more interceptions than Cooper Rush. I don't know. But the offensive coordinator needs to go. The head coach needs to go. They need to find somebody right now to get that team and corral them because, like I said, Micah Parsons is not going to play for his organization next year, especially Mike McCarthy. He needs to go. Now, that's stuff you can fix. Draft, you can get. There's no way they're going to draft a quarterback or a wide receiver, okay? Because CeeDee Lamb won $36 million, Dak $280 million. I mean, and you got to pay for Micah Parsons. I mean, there's a lot of other players out there. Ezekiel Elliott, you can say goodbye to him. They're talking about cutting him now. I mean, get rid of the coach. Let him play the season out, right? But that's pretty much the flame in that garbage dumpster right there. Now you go down to the Meadowlands, which is a garbage dump.
Yeah, but what side of the Meadowlands do you want to pick? Because they both the Giants and the Jets got garbage.
They play in the same dumpster.
Yeah.
The Met or whatever the hell that garbage dump is. It's called the garbage can. If you've never been there, don't go. I did. And it was horrible. The stadium sucks all the way around. I mean, the stadium where it's placed, it's just like when the wind blows, you see all the garbage, like a tornado. But enough said about that. Get on to their garbage football team. They have over 30 players right now. Contracts are set to expire at the end of the season, including their overaged, elderly quarterback. Now, the downfall of the New York Jets is somebody, I don't know who this was, could have been the owner, gave Aaron Rodgers pretty much carte blanche to do whatever he wants, to say whatever he wants, and get whoever he wants fired. Okay? The head coach should never have gotten fired, period. When you have your quarterback running the team, how's that working out for you now?
Yeah.
It's not. And then you get Devontae Adams. Okay? I feel sorry for this kid. Okay, yeah, he was getting killed in Las Vegas because they had no quarterback. He wanted out. So let's get out this love scenario. Let's reunite him with Rodgers because when they played together in Green Bay, let's see if this will work. But the magic isn't working in the Meadowlands. You can't do that. They had a decent running game with Breece Hall. They're going to get this kid killed too because their offensive line is weakening. It's disembalming. It's falling apart. And now you got Aaron Rodgers who could give two. You know what I'm talking about? He gave two
Mm-hmm.
As long as he gets paid, right?
Yep.
We all know he's a competitor and he wants to win. But at this point in his life, I think the money is there. He can go golf tomorrow. He can be he's a great golfer. I got to tell you, this is PGA material. I mean, yeah, he's an athlete, but have you ever seen him golf?
No.
Fantastic. Him and Tom Brady, great golfers. But that's not going to win you Super Bowls. But when you have your quarterback controlling the team, look at him. 2-7.
Yep.
I mean, the Bills are going to run away with that division regardless. The Dolphins got their head above water and they're barely breathing. Tua is trying everything in his life to try and unlife him. You know what I mean? Right. He's trying everything in his he's trying to get hurt. I don't know. What guy throws an interception and goes to tackle the linebacker with his head?
Hey,
he has 92 concussions.
Let me read some of this stuff.
Read some of that stuff. Come on.
Okay,
let's hear it.
Okay. Daniel Nazar, what's up, brother? He says, yeah, put his butt in the game, but hell, they might win. He's talking about the Cowboys, but what you call it? Joe Spano says Cowboys beat our ass. You're right. Yeah. You're right. They did beat us. And also, Joe also said Deion Sanders will be their coach. And I've been hearing a lot of that coming around.
Oh, sure.
That the Dallas Cowboys will possibly go after Deion Sanders. But the problem that I think with Deion is that Deion says he doesn't mind the college game and he likes the college game better. But, and I understand now he's got a son that's going to definitely be a top 5 QB pick in the draft. But the thing about it is that it's a different game when you're dealing with adults.
Yeah.
Who just, who's there for a paycheck.
Well,
and I don't blame some of the guys. I know, like we always talk offline, we talk on here, the fact that, these guys, you'll sit there and you'll say a guy says he makes what? Like Dak $60 million a year. But you got to think about it. These guys have 3 to 5 year window to try to make whatever they can make to take care of their family. That's it. And they're done. And if they don't make it beyond that, then you better hope to God you could do whatever. That's what I'm saying. I don't behoove those guys. Dak, I think, like I said, Dak he blows this year, but he got 60 million out of Jerry Jones. I love it, especially because Jerry Jones wants total control of that team, and I think the guy does not know what he's doing. He's the modern day Al Davis, and he's killing them Cowboys. And as long as he's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, you guys will never go anywhere with that guy. And every time he has a power struggle with one individual, Jimmy Johnson, who could have probably got them another title, as strong as he built that Cowboy team within those 90s, he had to go. He said he couldn't do it because of this guy.
Well, let me tell you something. If I'm a Deion Sanders fan. He's amazing. He was an amazing player. I mean, he's somewhat of a great coach down in Colorado, but I'll tell you what, it would be a huge, huge mistake for the Dallas Cowboys to get a coach or a coach player like Deion Sanders. And I'll tell you why. He's the kind of guy that you bring your team to fill seats. Filling seats in Dallas is not a problem ever. It never will be a problem for whatever reason. I mean, there'll always be Cowboy fans that I don't care if you could build a 180,000 seat facility. The Cowboys will sell out every game. It's nuts. If you bring somebody like that to the organization who's already having problems, all you're going to do is add to them. Look how the Los Angeles Lakers are doing with LeBron and his son. Okay.
Yeah.
If I was a college basketball player, I would be highly pissed. You draft this kid who was undraftable. Nobody wanted him. And he's playing for the Los Angeles Lakers because why? His dad's LeBron James. Does this guy horrible? He stinks. No, he's a mediocre at best basketball player, but is that who you want in your team?
Right.
A name in mediocrity? No, you want to draft the best players in your team. And the Lakers have been competitive, but they can't do it. They can't get to the big game. Why? Because they're focused on the wrong things. And if Deion Sanders were to come to the Dallas Cowboys, that would be the same thing. It's all about the name. It's all about the family. If he wants to go somewhere like Indianapolis, Jacksonville, somewhere where you need to put people in the seats, beautiful, go ahead. And he might turn a team around, but it'd be a big mistake to go to the Dallas Cowboys. And like I said, I am not knocking him. I mean, I really love the guy. He's a great player. He gets the team going. I mean, he does a lot of showboating, but that's entertainment, right?
Yeah. Well, Daniel Nazar, I agree with you 100%, brother. He said, Sanders doesn't want to coach in the NFL. He's making way too much money in college and the headaches, of the NFL. And I don't blame him. Mentor your son and make him, do what he needs to do in the NFL and get the people in the right positions. Because I'm pretty sure they'll listen to what you're saying and what you're doing down there, Dion. But like he said, stay in that college game, man. Get it while it's hot. And I believe even next year, this dude's going to have a phenomenal team because he got guys now that's beckoning to try to get with that squad, man.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado it used to be, well, look at Cordell Stewart came from Colorado.
Yeah,
I mean, they were a good team back then, but they couldn't get over the hump. And so they were just tossed aside. Everybody's talking about the 4 teams. Everybody. Let's see if I can remember who they are. You got Ohio State, sucks. You got Michigan, you got Georgia, you got Alabama, and you're talking about LSU and Clemson, those guys, SEC teams and all that. That's all you really hear about. You don't hear about the Oregons. You don't hear about Northwestern. You don't hear about Texas. Texas is a team to be reckoned with, right, in college, if you're following college football. But everything is really centered around the Pac-10 or the SEC. Penn State is up there. We lost to Ohio State. It sucks. But you know what? We're in the same division. We've got the same record. It's just that when you start talking about a team like Colorado that nobody's really been following, and you throw in Deion Sanders, my point 100% right there. Nobody's talking about Colorado. Nobody talked about Colorado until Deion Sanders and his family came to play football there from coaching. If I'm wrong, call, message, prove me wrong. 585-210-3917. I mean, this is what it's all about. You got to read the room. You got to see what is going to be more beneficial to your team down the line. Right now, this instant gratification stuff with this new generation, it doesn't happen anymore. You're not going to pull this player and that player from that team, and this team, make a dream team and expect to win it all. It's not going to happen. And when you think that somebody like Deion Sanders could come and make your football team better, you better read the room and find out what state and what city that you think is going to happen. It won't happen in Dallas. I'll tell you that right now.
No, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Hey, guys, like we said, you know what? If you get a chance, call in 585-210-3917. We're talking about a gambit of stuff here tonight. Actually, we also got to jump right into the fact of the Pittsburgh Steelers got a huge game this weekend. And I know Joe Spano touched on that earlier. And the fact is, Steelers in Pittsburgh versus the Ravens is going to be a huge game. Probably one of the better games on Sunday at 1 p.m. James, give us your thoughts. And you guys on the board, give us your thoughts on that game, Steelers versus Ravens. Give us a score as well. We'll see who gets closest. Give us a score in that game, and what's your thoughts on that game versus the Ravens?
Right. Typically, if you look statistically at Derrick Henry, what he's been doing to defenses, all right, you have to get him at the line of scrimmage. You have to get him in the backfield. If he gets to the linebackers in the secondary, he's gone, because I guarantee you the safeties and the corners won't be able to bring him down until he gets at least 30, 40 yards. You got to stop him at the line of scrimmage. So what the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do is they have to stack the box and hope that our secondary comes around and makes Lamar win the game in the air. That's the only way the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win this game. Contain Lamar like we did Jane Daniels. Stop the running game like the Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing consistently all season. Like I said earlier, now one player has rushed for over 100 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense this year. Stop them. And we've historically never really had a problem with Derrick Henry. I mean, I can't remember. I was going to look up these stats and I just think about, but I don't think that Derrick Henry has ran too many games over 100 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I don't think it's going to start now. Okay, we do have some injuries, but the big thing about that is we should be getting Cam Sutton back from his suspension.
He played.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, he played.
So what Cam Sutton brings to the Steelers defense is he's that special nickelback. He can play outside corner, he can play slot corner. And what that does and how that benefits the Steelers secondary, that lets Minkah Fitzpatrick play his position, lets him be that ball hawk, that safety going around the defensive secondary and making plays. So helps out immensely. And yeah, McLaurin had a huge game, but that's who he is. He's got a great quarterback throwing in the football. So with that being said, it's going to be, they're always close games. I can't remember the last time either team blew each other out.
Yeah,
so I'm going to say 27-23 Pittsburgh Steelers.
27-23 Pittsburgh Steelers.
And I'm thinking it's going to be a late touchdown. Steelers losing 20-23, and maybe Mike Williams might pull another one out of his butt, but I predict the Steelers will win 27-23. It's going to be a great game in the Berg. Weather's supposed to be good. We don't know, but what about you there, Sanders?
You know what? I'm thinking it's going to be a tight game too as well. Pittsburgh Steelers defense, that did hurt, that injury to Highsmith coming on the other side, but we do have some guys that the Steelers right now, like I said, like Tomlin says, next man up. We do have some guys right now out there that do fit the need, that do fit the bill, and seem to do what the Pittsburgh Steelers need them to do. And that's right now is to play defense. And right now the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're in a position to where they can actually, I love the fact that, James, they played a game against a team that somewhat is similar, which is kind of funny. The Commanders, they got a young quarterback and a quarterback that is nimble, a quarterback that can get around the pocket. And yeah, he's younger. He's younger than the Ravens quarterback. But the fact is that Daniels is a guy that has a great arm, has great instinct, a guy that could take off and jet, and the Pittsburgh Steelers contained him. And that's what they do. That's pretty much what they do to the Ravens. They Lamar Jackson, they contain him. They keep him in this pocket, and they try to keep everything else in this pocket. And what with the pressure from Highsmith, which is going to be out, but the other guys will step up. I don't even worry about it anymore. The other guys will step up, and you got TJ Watt on the other side rushing it. They usually cause havoc, and they wreak havoc, and they make them go into turnovers. So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers can win this game, and I think they can win it at a good score. I'm going to say the Steelers might reach 30 again. Surprise everybody, reach 30 again. They got a good young receiver. They got a good quarterback out there finally. And I always told people Pittsburgh was one player away from making it somewhere, and they needed a quarterback. Kenny Pickett was not that guy. And I used to piss me off because I used to watch the TV, text back with some other guys out there, and I used to hear Kenny Pickett has moxie. I said, what? What moxie are you? What are you looking at?
Was that toe fungus?
That's all I kept hearing. He has moxie. He has that it. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, sitting the bench. That's it.
Yeah. So Kenny Pickett is over there where he should be. He's over there playing back up behind Hurts in Philadelphia, way behind because I think he's a third string.
He got some playing time.
Yeah, he did actually.
Yeah.
Is he second or third string? Well, I got to find out anyway. It
matter.
It doesn't matter anyway.
No.
Well, but for Philly, it does. My brother's a Philadelphia fan because if Hurts goes down, you're done. Yeah. But the other thing about it is
that'll hurt.
Yeah, that'll hurt bad time. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers going to win this game. I'm going to say 30-24, and the Steelers are going to go on a limb of scoring. The defense is going to be phenomenal. They get hyped up in front of that crowd, especially when they start playing the music late in the game.
Oh yeah, Renegade.
Yep. And the Steelers they're going to win this, man. I think they're going to win it big, man.
You know what? I like your score, but I don't like it, and I'll tell you why. Because if the Steelers are winning 30-24, they score a touchdown, kick a field goal, game's over, 31-30, right?
Yep.
What we did to the Commanders. So if that's the scenario, right? We're going to be at the edge of our seats. We're going to be going out of our freaking minds like we usually do every Steeler game. Are the Ravens going to pull it out? And you know what? Used to be that, get Justin Tucker in field goal range and he'll win ball games for you. Right now, not so much.
Yeah.
He's been missing field goals, and I don't know if it's age, the stadium, the turf, whatever, something psychological wrong with him, but he is not the guaranteed field goal kicker. And I'll tell you who is. The Wizard of Boz. The Wizard of Boz. Chris Boswell has only missed one field goal this year, and that includes extra points.
Yeah.
One field goal.
What was that field goal? Do you know if it was a long one or?
Yeah, that was in the wind. I think it was like 62 yards.
Yeah, you're right. It was a deep one. They tried.
Yeah. So, I mean, he almost hit it too. He had the distance, but he just pushed it wide. So, I mean, and I don't want to jinx him or the Pittsburgh Steelers because you know how that works when these stupid announcers start saying this shit during the game. And next thing you know, he misses a field goal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But still, he's in my fantasy team. And he's been starting every game. You know what sucks about fantasy? I'll tell you this right now for if you get. So I had Jalen Waddle, all right, all season.
For the Dolphins.
For the Dolphins. Had him all season. First game, beautiful. And after that, just fell apart. So I finally dumped him. Finally got rid of him. I had to. Yeah. I mean, he's just eating up space, you know. So the Cowboy Lover picks him up because we play in the same league. I'm watching the game last night. The first 3 catches were to Waddle. Click. And I sent him a message. I said, hey, really? This is what you got to do to me? This guy doesn't do stuff all year. And suddenly he's like, but he ended up I guess those were only 3 catches of the night. So so he ended up, I think, 13 points, whatever. But anyways, folks, put your scores up on the thing. Call us up. 585-210-3917. That's a Steeler Nation Live hotline. We want to hear what you got going on. And so we both predicted the Steelers to win. And I hope we're true about that. So
you said 27-23. I said 30-24 Steelers. Yeah, I do believe that they're gonna win this, and I do believe they're gonna do well doing it, and that'll put the Steelers at 8-2 right now. I believe Steelers are out of all the AFC teams, they're ranked number 3 with their record. So right now the Steelers are huge.
2 more wins for Tomlin's winning season. 2 more wins, and he's got the winning season.
Well, and the thing that scares me right now, and I see. I'm just gonna talk about him, Joe Testa. The Cincinnati Joe.
Oh boy!
I was going to say this about the Cincinnati Bengals. You guys, you lost some games, and you lost some games in rough fashion. To be honest, the game that you just lost to the Ravens, I kind of do believe there were some missed penalties.
Oh my God! Well, let's talk about that. I've never seen one play with 3 personal fouls, and not one's called. I mean, you had 2 face masks and the hands to the face all on the same play, and the referee's standing there.
Yeah.
And no call. And that was just one of the missed calls. Well, 3. There's so many missed calls in that game. It was just embarrassing. Totally embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you don't like Tomlin says, you don't want to put that in the referee's hands to depict the game. You need to go out there. You need to depict the game. However, if during the outcome of the game or as the game is going on, if referees are missing calls here and making up calls there, that determines outcomes of the game. Not like if it's down to the last point and you miss a field goal. Okay, but when the referees control the game, there's no way you're going to win it. I mean, like everybody says, oh, you can call holding on every play. Yeah, but it just happens to be on the most unopportune times. And we have certain referee teams going around, and they favor the home team, some favor the visitors, and it's just, I think that really honestly, folks, I think that there should be background checks on these referees. They should go through investigations. I mean, do they have a gambling problem? Do they gamble? I don't know if that's illegal or not. If you can gamble while you're refereeing. Look, Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame because he gambled on baseball. I mean, he bet for his team to win. He wasn't, fixing games so he could win money. He was just betting on his team to win. And he passed away a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. So he'll never have that, excitement of being into the Hall of Fame. These referees, they need to be investigated. I really, really, truly think. Dude. I mean, all over Europe, soccer games, fixed games. Investigations. There's specials on Netflix about this in sports, basketball. the referees back in the 80s who were gambling and throwing games, calling fouls, and how easy it is. It's just despicable. It is what it is.
Yeah, guys, like speaking, make sure you check out our we also did interviews with some NFL refs that right there you see him on Jim
DeBell.
Yeah, he was on our show as well. Jim on to the right over there. Jim, he's called a lot of games, and the fact is that, like I said, he's still doing some stuff, and he'll come on the game for us. But we always try to get his insight on what's going on with the referee game sometimes, and hopefully we'll get him back on the show eventually. And I know he's busy because he's also doing some stuff getting ready for other leagues as well, and he's training other refs. But we always want to know is like some of these calls that's made in today's game, man. And like you said about that Cincinnati game, I thought that they were,
look,
it was a shame, man.
Look.
It was right there on national TV, dude. I mean, you could see it. Bad calls. It's too many bad calls being made in the NFL.
The technology they have today, going up to New York, wherever you're playing in the United States football game, New York is watching. They have officials watching every game in New York, and they always constantly going back to them. They have, I can't tell you how many cameras in these football stadiums. I can't tell you how many different camera angles. I can't begin to tell you how many microphones and all recordings on the sidelines, wherever. And you mean to tell me that you can't get these calls right? That I don't care what you say to me. I don't care what you say to me. I mean, back in the day, football was football, as human error, whatever, just like baseball. They're starting to get into technology now with the balls and the strikes and stuff like that. But you can't sit there and tell me in a straight face that what I'm looking at on my TV, I got a 70-inch TV, but I can't zoom in, right? But I could clearly see plays. You mean to tell me these guys who operate these cameras and these video booths in New York City who can zoom in on these plays, mean to tell me you can't make a correct call? I know some calls are not reviewable. They need to look into that as well. With the NFL rules, everything's changing these days, right? But you can't sit there and tell me what I can see on my TV, a holding or the guy steps out of bounds, whatever. But I don't have the technology to zoom. They do.
Yeah,
I have one look at my TV.
But some of them are so. Look, how many games have we talked about with Kansas City?
Every game.
Everybody's talking about the fact that every week there is this going on, that going on. I've seen last second in the game, I think it was last week or something, where one of the offensive linemen jumped early before the ball was snapped. I don't know how you missed that. If I seen it on TV, I don't know how you missed it. And not just that, these are the same guys that are called in close clutch holding on a play that there's no way in heck you like. How'd you catch that?
Listen.
How'd you get 2 feet? How do you get 2 feet in? How'd you catch that?
I will bet anybody, all the tea in China. I will bet all the tea in China that if the team who was kicking the field goal against the Chiefs, if the Chiefs were kicking a field goal, last second field goal, and it was blocked, I guarantee you, like I said, all the tea in China, that would have been a penalty. They would have called leveraging. They would have called offsides. They would have called anything they wanted to so they can re-kick the ball. I guarantee it. 100% guarantee it. If the Chiefs were trying to kick that field goal and it was blocked, there would have been a flag. I guarantee you. The house, the farm, the dog, the pickup truck, your hair, everything.
Hey,
bet it all.
Welcome to Still a Nation Live. I think is this Cincinnati Joe?
It is Cincinnati Joe, my friend.
Whoa, Cincinnati Joe. What do you know? There's my guy right there.
Let me just say this. This has been, and you guys can research this. You can Google it. Week 1 against New England, even after instant replay, you can look it up right after you get off the phone when your show's over against New England. Cincinnati scored in the final minute. The ball crossed the line. They reviewed it. They called it a no touchdown on the field. They reviewed it. They stood by the call. The ball clearly, while the guy was standing up, passes the line. Game against Kansas City. We dominated the game for 3 3/4 of the game. Final drive of the game, the guy's going for the ball. Cincinnati hits the guy, goes going for the ball. They call defensive pass interference. Would have been first down Cincinnati with less than a minute to go. The game would have been over.
Yeah, I remember.
And then this past week, and then this past week, again, not even on that last 2-point conversion. If you watched it at the end of the third quarter when they grabbed Joe Burrow's face mask again, the guy punched his helmet, grabbed his face mask. No referee. I don't know what's going on. You got to win the game. They say if you lose a game by one referee's call, you shouldn't cry. Okay, I understand that. I get it. But in some certain cases like this, where everybody saw what happened on the 2-point conversion play, three flags, 3 penalties on one play, referee standing right there. I got to swallow it because my team got 6 losses. Are they most likely out of the playoffs? Yeah, it's a shame. But what's going on with not just Cincinnati? I watch other games, and what's happening with these referees and these calls. It's really getting kind of, and you guys. Okay, look at you guys. You guys are having a great season right now. You're having a great year. You're probably above all expectations and where people thought Pittsburgh would have been after 10, 11 games. Now the playoffs are going to start soon, and someone's going to have to go into Kansas City, and someone's going to have to go into Buffalo, and It's like you got to hope. Here's what kills me. Like you guys mentioned a minute ago, why can't the referees get into the New York refs when they see a drop pass? Before instant replay flag is even dropped, they'll come back and say, upon further review from the New York office, the ball's been deemed incomplete. Okay, it saves the coach a challenge. Why can't they do that? Why can't they do that? Hey, you guys missed a blatant face mask. You guys, you have New York there. You have them ready. You have them on the phone. If you're only going to call it on certain plays, on certain situations, but you're not going to call it when the game is on the line, it's this year we're catching the bug. Cincinnati's been screwed 3 different games. They should have three more wins in their win column and 3 less games in their loss column. But it is what it is. I got to stick by it. We're a decent team. We still got a mathematical shot, but I'll give you credit for your Pittsburgh team, man. I tell you, I'm not a Russell Wilson fan. But let me ask you guys this one question, and I'll let you guys take it from here.
Go ahead, brother.
Fields left with what? What was his record?
4-2.
4-2.
Yep.
4-2. Did you when the decision was made to put in Russell Wilson, even though Pittsburgh traded for him and Mike Tomlin said he's going to be our starter, this is why we got him. But at 4-2, did you, as a fan, agree with the call, or did you think at the time we should have stayed with Fields?
I'll start off with this one. I've talked about this before on the show, and it's easily missed. But at first, I was against it. I mean, okay, we weren't blowing people out, right? But we were winning games and we're progressing. And I thought that at this time where the Steelers are going up, because it's not usually our thing, we're usually on a 3-game skid and we have to win a game to come out and do this. It wasn't happening. But then I remembered my viewpoint of how I feel. So coming into this, both players knew who the starter was, and that was Russell Wilson. And Justin Fields agreed to it. He had no problem. There were no problems. Okay. Russell Wilson couldn't go at the beginning of the season for a calf injury. So Justin Fields, who was the number 2 guy, came in and filled in admirably. Okay. My viewpoint is that's your role. Okay. Your role as a backup is, in case of injury, your job is to go in there and take over the number 1 spot as if the number 1 spot is not open. And then when the number 1 guy comes back in, you go back to your spot and you wait for your turn. That is your role as number 2. Now, if it came into the season like, we don't know, and this happens, yeah, that's a horrible move. You don't do that. But from day one, they both knew who the starter was. And unfortunately, Russell Wilson was hurt. So the number 2 guy had to come in, and he did his job. Now, we talked about it earlier on the show. I don't know if you caught that, but look at these teams who have starting quarterbacks and no backups, and look how they're doing, especially the Dallas Cowboys. Cooper Rush is a good quarterback, right? But I really don't think I really don't understand his Dak Prescott injury. I think there's more to the story, but that's neither here nor there. But you need a team.
Yeah, but that team has their problem. Dak Prescott on that team is the last is a minor issue compared to their defense. I think right now that team's given up.
Yeah,
Michael Parsons' comments about the coach in the locker room after the game. You can tell right then and there that this team on the field, I believe that they prepare what the coach gives them during the week, and on Sunday they just go out there and say, we're going to do things ourselves. That's the way I see them playing, because the mistakes they made, the fumbles that they were making against the Eagles this past week were.
I think that
I
think the commentators quote them as the Keystone Cops.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's what the commentators were saying. But you know what? If Dr. Phil and Jesus Christ, they can't fix that team right now.
No. Let me ask you this, Joe. There's because he asked the question, that was a good question earlier in the show, and he said, who do you think is in a rougher spot between the Cowboys and the Jets? Matter of fact, let me add one more to that dumpster fire. Let's add the New York Giants.
Oof.
The New York Jets, I think are in the. If you ask in my opinion, I think New York Jets are in the. They got the wrong guy at quarterback. This guy, Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to think of the word. I think he's doing all this for his own
ego.
They got a great defense. they got a great defense. Yeah, they don't have a Pro 1 coach. That's problem number one. But Dallas, their problems are on every aspect. There's absolutely no running game. They absolutely have no running game. They have no linebackers. Their secondary is basically, I would say, a step below Alabama as a collegiate level. The Giants, there's a lot of good players there. They played a great game on Sunday, except for a couple mishaps, and they got a young defense. They picked Dallas. Amongst those three teams, that team is in disarray, probably like I've never seen any NFL team fall from grace. The Dak Prescott lip reading last week when he was saying we suck or whatever, or this team sucks, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That they caught him saying. Michael Parsons, you can just hear is he really hurt? I doubt it. Dak Prescott, somebody's got to be saying he's got a torn hamstring to verify to the league that he needs some sort of surgery. But I think Dallas is the most disarray team in the league. The Jets are just a decent stud quarterback away from next year being back up there.
I agree.
And the Giants, who knows? Their coach has made some bonehead decisions over the last couple years. Daniel Jones, big money.
What about the running back?
Tries to play, but there's no running game there. But man, Dallas Kenny, I feel bad for Dallas Kenny. I know he's a true Dallas fan, but man, what's he saying about all this? What's Kenny saying about all
Cowboy
this?
Kenny? Yeah, he's disgusted, brother.
Cowboy Kenny.
Yeah, I give him credit on this part. The fact that he actually said Dak is not that guy. Hey, he always says
too late. $280 million too late. But I think the downfall of the Giants was when they let Barkley go. Right there.
Yep.
As soon as they let Barkley go, not only did they let him go, they let him go to a division rival. Can you imagine that?
Division rival.
What the hell were they not thinking? My God. Are you purposely trying to lose the season just like Major League? Remember that movie, Joe? Major League?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
Hey, but I got to say, Joe, what Barkley did, play of the year. Play of the year.
Oh,
man.
that hopscotch
Play of
back
the year.
move.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
does that?
Who does that?
Who does that?
Who
John
does
Cena.
that?
Now you see me.
Hey,
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
like I said, hey guys, you know what? Cincinnati Joe.
Let's
he
get
had
a score. Let's get a score.
Oh, which one? I'm still a game.
Yeah, give us a score, Joe. Ravens, Steelers.
And don't hate, Joe. Don't hate. Don't hate.
Don't do it.
No, I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to hate. But where's it at? Where's the game at?
It's in Pittsburgh. Coming off a big win on
Is
the
it?
road against the Commanders.
Is it in Pittsburgh? Even when Pittsburgh had
Oh shit! Here we go.
not losing seasons, but subpar seasons, it's a rivalry amongst all rivalries. You know, I'm gonna be rooting for Pittsburgh because I really don't like the Ravens. I'm gonna give it to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna say 20 to 17. I think Pittsburgh. I think Russell Wilson. He's got some sort of mojo going with this team. I think Watt on the outside. The only problem is, did you guys lose your guy they got hurt at the end of the Redskin game? Your edge rusher there on the
Highsmith,
end.
don't worry, we got that covered.
Not Highsmith. Is he okay? All right. I think Pittsburgh can hold off. It's always a low scoring game. It's always this rivalry. 9 out of 10 is always very low scoring. I could see it. I like to see Pittsburgh. I can call it. I'd like to call 2017 Pittsburgh. I'll be rooting for them. And like I said, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. I'll continue to
Cincinnati
listen.
Joe, let's give her a big round of applause.
I'll be calling back. I'm rooting for those Bengals. We're still mathematically in it.
We still got 2 games. We got to play you guys twice still.
Yep. Don't worry about it.
I know we still haven't played yet. I'll be calling it. I'll be calling on that Tuesday. You can bet your behind on that.
I'm about writing it down. Cincinnati
boy.
Joe.
Oh, geez.
All right,
All
my
right,
brother.
Jen.
All right, Joe. We'll talk to you later. All right,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
You got it.
Hey, like I said, we get guys from all different teams. You got to love it. Cincinnati Joe. We play them a lot. I've seen some Giant fans we had on here. Giants, like I said, that was the play of the year. I got to give it to Saquon Barkley,
the
huge.
magician.
To jump backwards over somebody at head level is ridiculous, bro.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, but guys, like we said, another great show in the books. Steelers, we all picked them to win. You know how that's going to go. But
Yeah.
James, what do you see the Steelers advancing? You think Super Bowl?
Well, you know what? Let's not get crazy. But you know what? We're a lot better right now than we were last year.
Yeah, that's all I can. That's
One
all you can
game
ask
at a
for.
time. One game at a time.
Hey guys, so we'll see you next Tuesday from Sanders Tisdale.
James Owen.
Back at you, Steeler Nation Live.